Hi, just a quick video today to talk about some of the most common problems people have when they're trying to get a peer-to-peer message out to its intended recipient. So we'll just dive right in. We're going to open Winlink. We're going to compose a message, new message, and we're going to send it to K4HYJ. Subject is going to be test, and the body will be whatever body has been prearranged for the exercise. If it's an exercise you're doing, or if you're just sending a message for the heck of it, then just say hi. Testing on 80 meters. Peer-to-peer. Cheers. And for CNX. Great. All right, we'll just click post out. No, we're not going to just click post out box. That's not going to work at all because this is a very important box. I think they should really put this box in red. It's that important, particularly for people who use peer-to-peer a lot. I forget this almost every time I try to send a peer-to-peer message. So we want to send this as peer-to-peer message. If I have this set to Winlink message, what it's going to do is it's just going to sit in my outbox until I make a connection to a server or a CMS station. Peer-to-peer is not a CMS station. Peer-to-peer has no internet sitting between it. So basically, a standard Winlink message is going to go from my computer to another computer that has a connection to the internet, go via the internet, and sit on Winlink servers until somebody tries to pick it up via another CMS at a different location that's actually closer to them. It's great. It works great when the internet's up in that location. Works fantastic. But today we want to do peer-to-peer because I want to go directly from my computer to K4HYJ's computer with no internet sitting in the middle. So we're going to post that to the outbox because we've now set it as a peer-to-peer message. I have two messages in here, and I'll show you the difference between how you can tell that you've messed up, because it'll automatically go to your outbox once you post it to outbox, and you're going to get the outbox here. My message to K4HYJ in the recipient section here says his call sign. That's correct. And it says P2P in parentheses. Very important that it says P2P in parentheses, because if it doesn't, that means it's not formatted as a peer-to-peer message. This message right here, the one that the recipient is KX4MAT, does not have the peer-to-peer in parentheses. So if you look at your message and you see that it doesn't have P2P in it and you want to send it as P2P, you need to edit that message. So you're just going to double click on it. And you're going to go here to edit it, set it to peer-to-peer, and post it back to the outbox. And now it says P2P, KX4MAT, peer-to-peer, and that's correct. That's now correctly formatted to be sent. If I connect directly to KX4MAT, that message will send, assuming we do all the other steps correctly. Good deal. So now we've got our message to K4HYJ ready to go, correctly formatted. It's got peer-to-peer there. We're going to open a session. But we're not going to open a packet Winlink session. Again, a packet Winlink session will be using the mode of packet, and it'll be using a Winlink format where it's expecting to connect to a CMS that has an internet connection. We are not doing that. We're going radio to radio, or computer to computer, or peer-to-peer. So we're going to go through our list, and we're going to dig around until we find the mode we want to use, which is Vera. We're going over 80 meters, so we're going to use HF, and we got peer-to-peer. So we're good to go there. Selected that, and then we click Open Session. There's a session box. There's a Vera modem. We're all sorted out. What we need to do here now is type in the name of the computer that we were trying to connect to, or the recipient. In this case, is K4HYJ, and I've already got K4HYJ in there. So the equivalent, and this, I think this explanation will help some people. This is basically, if you were to try to call K4HYJ, or if I were to try to call a K4HYJ using voice on sideband, I would say K4HYJ, KN4CNX. And if K4HYJ was listening, he would say KN4CNX, this is K4HYJ, go ahead. And the computer is basically doing that. And this is where you set that first call sign. So if I were to say KX4MAT, this is KN4CNX. If K4HYJ were listening on that frequency, he'd ignore my call because he knows that I'm addressing this to KX4MAT. So we need to put in this box who you're calling. So we're calling K4HYJ. The next important bit is what frequency are we calling K4HYJ on? And we're going to go with 3595. So I've got 3595 as a center frequency, and the center frequency is the most common frequency that people will give out when they're prearranging these peer-to-peer sessions. So somebody's going to give you the center frequency, and the software, as you type in the center frequency, will automatically take into account the bandwidth or Vera on either, on one side or the other, and it's going to give you your dial frequency. Your dial frequency is what your radio is going to be set to. If you don't have rig control, you're going to need to spin your dial until you get to 3593.5 if your center frequency is 3595. If you have rig control set up, it should automatically do it, but it's always a good practice to double check and make sure that your radio has gone to the correct frequency. Also, another very important bit, if you're using an older radio, sometimes rig control fails in whatever weird way it happens to fail in. Sometimes it doesn't put in the right frequency, and sometimes it doesn't put in the right sideband. If you have an older radio, like I do, I have an ICOM 706 Mark II, it doesn't always recognize what sideband I'm looking to do, and it doesn't have a digital mode. I want to use upper sideband. If you have a more modern rig, you want to make sure you're in upper sideband digital. That would be a deep dive into some of the menu settings probably to make sure that your data mode is always using upper sideband. If Winlink is your main mode, it just makes your life a lot easier. Most rig control will automatically switch to digital upper sideband if you've set up your rig control correctly in your software. But always good to verify that just to make sure you're not doing anything, because it won't hear it on lower sideband. It won't hear, just like when you're listening to somebody on upper sideband who's talking on lower sideband, you can't understand a word they're saying, and the computer says the same thing. It says, I don't understand what the hell this guy's saying, so I'm going to ignore it. So there you go. So the three most important things when you're in this window to do are set the proper frequency, set the proper call sign, K4HYJ, this is KN4CNX, on the proper frequency, 3595, and set your radio to the proper dial frequency, upper sideband or digital, depending on your rig. With all that set, you're good to go. You can hit start, and it'll start calling. Now, Hank is not on right now. K4HYJ is not on right now, so I'm just going to abort this or stop it. Let it send the CWID. It's important to use stop instead of abort if you're having issues with it. Abort will just abort, just be a hard stop on everything. And Winlink doesn't necessarily always like you using abort. Sometimes you'll need to restart the software if you do the abort. Stop also will play the CW tone, the CW call sign, your CW call sign, just as politeness. Yeah, it's me. Sorry about that. Didn't do that, or this wasn't working properly, and I'm out. So that's pretty much it right there. The top three things: call sign, center frequency, upper sideband, or digital, depending on your rig. And that's really it. If the connection is made, you'll probably hear it. If you got the volume up on your rig, you'll hear the other station come back to you. It may be faint, but it's shocking how good Vera is at catching faint signals. One other thing to note, only this message, we're going to go here, only the message that I have addressed to K4HYJ will go to K4HYJ because the software knows, hey, I called K4HYJ and I have traffic for K4HYJ. This traffic is for KX4MAT. Not talking to KX4MAT right now, not going to send the message. If we wanted to send it to KX4MAT, if we wanted a message for him to go out, I would type KX4MAT into this box, and hopefully he's on frequency, and we get a hold of him. Just remember, if you've got all this right, for the most part, and your rig is working properly, if you're not making it, it's probably conditions. It's probably not you. It's Mother Earth or the sun that are giving you your headaches. So there you go. Hopefully this covers most of the issues that people have. These are the simple problems that people have typically with a peer-to-peer connection. Sometimes it's a little more complicated than that, but these are the most common failure modes for a peer-to-peer method. So I hope this helps, and cheers.